all the way down to the deep darkness. Someone help us! Then we hit bottom. I blacked out for a minute. Where are we? This is kind of terrible. No. Hello everyone, I'm Ian Chaffin, author of a lot of books, sort of, and knower of things, and today we're going to be talking about my favorite topic in writing. Oh my gosh, yes. And let me tell you, this is going to be really awesome and really exciting, especially since I'm doing it in one day. Yes, that's right. I'm doing this whole video, I'm recording it, editing it, all that. I actually got the script thing right here and all that, yeah. I'm doing it in one day. Funny story. So I saw Story Detective's video on announcing the third Wordstock, and I'm like, I need to be a part of this again. Yes! And I emailed him, and he emailed me back, and he's like, you know, you only have like one day. Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, totally. Like, I don't know how it got away from me, but yes, I will totally be a part of this because, like I said, this is one of my favorite topics in writing, and I just needed to be a part of it. Yeah. So he's like, cool, awesome, great. And I'm like, yes, cool, awesome, great. And so here I am. I actually have, you know, my script already ready, and I'm of course recording this, and then I'm going to edit it, which you will see the edited version when it comes up. So yes, yeah. And I'm pretty sure the only reason why I can do this in like one day is because it's one of my favorite topics, and I've been thinking about doing a video about it anyway, so why not now? So with that little fun story being said, remember, check out the other people's videos because they're going to be awesome. Oh my gosh. Like, I was watching the last couple rounds and I'm like, oh, so cool. So I will have their videos in two playlists. The overarching, really mega playlist of all the Wordstock videos and the one just specifically for this episode. So yes. And also know that if you don't see my video in their stuff, or if they don't mention me in their video, like saying, hey, check out these authors, this is why, because it's so last minute for me. So it's not because I'm a random black sheep of the family or anything like that, but it's because I'm so last minute. So they probably already have their episodes edited, so yeah. First off, strike show don't tell. We're not going to do that here. No. We're going to do it differently. How different? We're going to do both. Yes, that's what I said, both. We're going to show and tell in your stories. What? Oh my gosh, it's kind of like kindergarten class, except for there's not some random bully in the background. I mean, you know, if we were talking about YA, there's always going to be some type of bully. The reason why I say we should show and tell is because there has to be a balance. You can't just do one or the other. You have to do both. But before we can do both, we have to understand what both of them actually are. So let's get to defining. Yes! Show is to describe what is happening or what something means without directly saying it. To describe and to detail. Telling is to say or directly voice to the audience what is happening and what is meant in your medium, or, you know, your story, your song, whatever it is, right? It's to voice or to summarize. So you have describing, detail, you know, you're probably going to need a lot more words than just like 2 or 3 versus using very few words, or maybe just coming out and saying it, you know, not beating around the bush. Thank you, idioms. And with both of them, you can use them in character descriptions, setting descriptions, you can use them in dialogue, you know, you can use them in every single part of your story. Now see, the reason why people say, oh, you have to show, not tell, is because if you tell, you'll make your story flat. You might not have well-rounded characters or a full, well-thought-out story. It could be bland. And you might actually have a limited word count, like, you know, smaller than what you need to have for a novel or anything like that. If you're trying to hit a certain word goal, just telling probably won't get you there. Or you'll have a lot of excess telling that, you know, makes it even blander. For example, my first book, Loading Life, the first book I've ever done, like actually put serious thought into. Okay, technically this is my first book, but we're not going to talk about that, and I might bury it in the backyard later, so it was really bad. It really was. But anyways, with Loading Life, the first time I actually went through and wrote all of the story, you know, the first complete draft I ever did, it was roughly 25,000 words. And then I went back and I read it and I'm like, wow, I'm the type of person who is a very tell person. I want you to know the story and tell you and all that. But I was doing the whole summarizing thing and not putting a lot of detail into things. Whoops. However, when I went back and was like, wait a minute, I could fix this here and put more detail here. I can give you more description here and all that. And it's going to be beautiful. By doing all of that, I was able to raise that 25,000-ish words all the way up to 60,000. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Now let's take it from the other side. If you only show, you might actually overcomplicate things, and you might drag out certain topics that you shouldn't drag out at all. You know, for example, people have subplots, you know, which are totally awesome, totally fine, but what if you have just a little detail about a sub character that doesn't really matter? He's like off in the background. He might matter in a later story, but you know, you just focus on him so much and detail him so much because you want people to know that he's really important later on in the series. But it really doesn't matter because, you know, he's off in the background. That's where you go, wait a minute, I need to stop doing this for a second and focus actually on my main characters and the main story and the main subplots. And you know, you just add a little detail to that one random thing that'll come up later and be very important in the next book, but you leave everything else out. Don't show your audience everything. Also, by just showing, you might not leave any room for actual imagination. If you show everyone every single aspect of the setting, it's going to take away from what your audience will think of themselves. They need to exercise that imagination part of their brain. Also, you could give too much story and have so many words and you're like, oh wow, I hit 100,000 words. But because most of that was showing and describing and all that, and you know, your actual core audience, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna put this book down. There's way too much showing. And then they go off to somewhere else. You kind of muddle the waters by always showing and not telling. Now, to really understand why you need a balance and not just one or the other, let's go through some examples. Example 1. Kai felt sick to her stomach versus Kai's stomach churned like the raging sea. Now with that one, I'd probably go with the second one. But if someone was just telling someone, oh hey, how's Kai doing? Yes, her stomach is churning like a raging sea. What? If person B is really telling person A that's exactly how Kai's feeling, for one, person B has way too much information. For two, what? Now, this could work for a character if they're always describing everything. But if they're a cut-dry character, or if they don't actually know how Kai's feeling, they could just be like, oh, Kai is sick to her stomach. Do you have anything to help her? Yada, yada, yada. The showing could provide detail for that character if they always do that to everything, or it could just take away from the story. So make sure you know, like, how your character actually talks, and also, like, is this absolutely necessary to show? Another example, Annie Mae was strong versus, I'm going to read to you. So don't make fun of me for reading. This is the first time I've actually read one of my books on here, so quit staring. Annie Mae walked down the bleachers, meeting Hiro halfway. He gritted his teeth and lowered his eyes, barely catching the frown crossing her lips. Shut up. Ready, Miss Fields? Yes, Coach. Both of their health and stamina bars sprang up. The coach once again called a giant energy ball, her stamina rising, red. But before the coach could release her attack, Annie Mae flipped her hair and giggled. The entire class could feel her energy surrounding them. Both boys and girls melted, sighing and blushing. Hiro Cart's Root doing the same. The coach's energy ball depleted in her hands, her mind totally consumed by the princess's power. Then the sweet smile on Annie Mae's face turned into a deep scowl, sending a wave of dread over the coach and her entire class. People started to shiver and whimper. The coach's health bar shot down nearly a quarter with that one attack. Even Hiro and Root jumped in their seats from the sudden change. So, in that instance, you have already been told 1 or 2 times that Annie Mae is the top of her class and all that. So instead of just saying, hey, Annie Mae defeated the coach, I wanted you to actually see it. You know, I wanted to show it where you could be like, oh, she is powerful. Also, fun fact, you see how Hiro is just like pummeled to the ground multiple times before this. So, you know, there's that. Another example. Marley was dead to begin with. There was no doubt about that. Versus Marley's corpse was rotting in the ground. Worms crawling in and out. Okay, no. But see, even Charles Dickens did it. Even he did it. He did the tell, not show. Why? Because he wanted to get to the point. Who cares about Marley? He was already dead. We were talking about Scrooge here. So I hope these examples helped you a little bit. I was having fun with them. I don't know if you were having fun, so sorry if you weren't. Thank you for putting up with me. So now's the question. What does balance look like? Well, okay, it's going to sound completely cliche, but it depends on you and the story you're writing. For instance, I do a lot of short stories, or, I've done a lot of short stories. I haven't done a lot lately. And in short stories, you can't always go into description mode. You have to get to the point on some of those things, or you're, one, going to lose your reader, and two, going to run out of words. Especially if you're trying to challenge yourself, or, doing it for a certain contest where you can only have like 1,000 words or something like that. Yeah. I usually tell more in short stories versus when I'm doing novels. I'm getting better at not just telling, but at showing where you can actually have a novel and not just an almost novel. However, if you look at one of my friends, she is more on the show side. And she is actually, learning how to develop her tell and not just have show all the time. But it does take practice. And don't worry if you don't have it down just yet. I really don't have it down just yet. And you can get a lot of information and you can know it, but actually putting it into practice can be hard, and that's okay. Let me tell you, I have known about this, and I'm like, yes, I totally believe in it. Show and tell. Learn about the balance of your book and of your series and of all that. And it's still hard for me to do. Don't worry if it's hard for you to do too. We are all in the struggle here, and that's okay. I think that's part of the reason why people like to write, is because they challenge themselves, or should at least try to challenge themselves. But it's because they challenge themselves, and show and tell is one of the ways they do it. In all honesty, a good way to practice is to either do short stories or to do excerpts from your book. Even if those excerpts don't actually end up in the story, it can be really good for showing and telling and figuring out which one you want to do, and also developing your characters, your settings, and your story a little bit more. So, yeah. Now, before we leave here, I want to give you a little bit more information on this and to show you some things that I have used to help me understand a little bit better about show and tell and all of that. One of them is a video by Ted Ed, and I'm going to link the video down below. So here's the first image, and it comes from Pinterest. Actually, I think it's a screenshot that comes from Twitter, and I don't know if this person is the original author, but yes, I found this and I was like, amen, thank you. The quickest show not tell tip ever. Show emotion, tell feelings. Don't tell us she was sad. Show us her lip trembled and her eyes burned as she tried to keep her tears at bay. Don't show us her eyelids were heavy, too heavy. Her limbs could barely function and she couldn't stop yawning. Tell us she felt tired that morning. Showing emotions will bring the reader closer to the characters. But I don't need to read about how slow she was, moving due to tiredness. And you know what? I really like that. The other one I wanted to show you is something I also found on Pinterest, but I linked back to an awesome Instagram account by a person named Clara Ryan Hart. So I actually checked out her Instagram account because, in the picture you could see her name on it. So this is totally hers. Isn't mine. Like the other one wasn't mine either. Just saying. And I actually checked out her Instagram and it was pretty cool. So, I followed her. So hi, senpai. How are you doing? But I love what her little diagram thing tells, and it's beautiful. I love it. And below when to show is when you want the reader to feel what the character feels, when you want the reader to become emotionally invested in the story, and when you want to give readers concrete details they can relate to. On the when to tell side is when you need to move a reader quickly from one location to the other, when you're repeating information the reader already knows, and when you want to spare the reader boring, non-vital, filler information and get back to the action. And yeah, I definitely agree with all these as well. And this is really cool. I actually found this when I was looking for the other one. So hey, thank you Pinterest, and thank you Clara. I think it's Clara because it only has one R, her name, so hi, thanks. Thank you. You're an awesome person. So I hope this video helped you all out, and I hope you know a little bit more about how you can show and tell and still have an awesome story. And I hope you all visit the other Wordstockers. Does that sound good? Word stalkers? Wordstockonians? Wordstockies? I hope you all watch the other people's videos and, yeah, have fun with it. And definitely check out Heart's Instagram. I'll have it linked down below. And the TED Ed video. And with that, I'd like to give a big thank you to Laurel Webb. Thank you, Laurel Webb, for subscribing. And I'll see y'all later, alligators. Bye-bye! Then the sweet smile on Anime's face.